Well, happy Thursday evening, everyone. We're so happy that everybody is joining us. My name is Fiona, and I have with me the amazing Dr. Michael Gross.
Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Gross. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
We're thrilled to have you spending some of your Thursday night with us, and we will be very prompt. And we're here only half an hour, so we're going to get right to the heart of the matter because Michael has a powerful message for all of you, okay? And I like to make sure to give Michael all his credit. So I have this little note, and we don't script anything. Michael channels the information that he shares with you, and the only thing I read is how amazing this man really is and all his experience, some of his experiences. So, Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the True Source, he has also achieved incredible healings and great success in those healings. Sometimes they've actually led to miracles, you could say, right, Michael?
Absolutely, yes.
I've witnessed that in person, and it's amazing what
Thank you.
happens when he works with one of us. So on that note, I will say that Michael continues to remain humble, knowing that all the work that he does comes from God, the true source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and I am just so thrilled that we share this Thursday night together. We invite everybody to invite your friends. It's 30 minutes well spent, and it can enrich your life for an eternity, right, Michael?
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And as you said, nothing is scripted. Therefore, everything is being channeled to you. And sometimes, if I mispronounce a word or I correct myself, it's because it's not a question of being professional. It's a question of that I am channeling the information. And sometimes the information comes very quickly, and I hear it, I sense it, but to verbalize it, sometimes it comes that fast. So, first of all, I want to thank you for putting information into the chat. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I thought this evening that I would talk to you all about listening. Kind of an interesting thought, listening. The average person, and my percentages may be a little off, but the average person, when you're having a conversation, they only listen to about 70 or 80% of what you're saying, and they're thinking of an answer. And that's really important for us to understand because listening involved a whole bunch of other items. And some of these items are what is their intonations? What are they talking about? And what is their eye movements? And what is their body telling you? And what is their emotions? All these things play into having a conversation and listening, even though some of it's silence. But there is more than that to listening. And that is listening to what I call your soul, the thoughts of your soul, and also true inner source guidance. Basically, what is that? That is the part of you that is divorced from the ego, that is speaking the truth. So the ego, which as you know by now, EGO stands for edging God out. And the ego always does two things. One, it wants to compliment you and seduce you by compliments and saying you're wonderful and great and justify everything you do, or bring up your inner fears or doubts which you've accumulated through your whole lifetime. But listening to your thoughts of your soul and true inner source guidance is very important. True inner source guidance is another name for God, the true source, okay? But I wanted you to be aware of that. And soul is communicating with you to do what I call right action and to do the proper things. So much in our life we're led by our egos, so to speak. And when we're led by our egos, that's so important for us to understand that we're being led by our egos. And our egos is self satisfying. And we're looking for justification of everything we're doing. That's primarily what our ego does. It supports you, it controls you, and manipulate you. But more importantly, we need to look at those thoughts. You know innately what's wrong and what's right. You really do know that, what's wrong and what's right. You were born with what's wrong and what's right. And what happens is that you are a blank slate, so to speak, when you incarnate, and everything you learn through your family, friends, children, religions, teachers, and whatever. We are great as human beings at making excuses for everything, justifying everything we can justify, even though we know it's wrong. But we're at a precipice in our life, and I thought I'd share a story. And the TSA baggage handlers in New York City, I think it was LaGuardia Airport, but it could have been the other one, would go through the suitcases after X-ray. And there were two or three that were working together the same shift, and one was stealing watches and jewelry or whatever they could, and the others didn't want to tattletale on them. Well, eventually enough people complained, and they put in hidden cameras, and they found out who the person was, and the others got admonished for not, reporting him. But nevertheless, they asked him why he did it, and he said, "Well, you don't pay me enough money, so I have to make up the difference." Isn't that interesting how we lie to ourselves? Now, I don't know whether he's making $15, $20 an hour or $100 an hour, which I doubt. But see how the ego kicks in? It justifies everything that we do. It gives us a reason for doing it. Whereas true inner source guidance and soul guidance really speaks quickly, rapidly, and plainly. What do I mean by that? Well, the ego always has to give you an excuse, a justification. Whereas true inner source guidance and also soul guidance, jointly or individually, just makes a flat statement. And that's how we begin to discern. And 99.9% of the time, you'll always do it correctly. But it's so important this time because we look around the world. And I am in touch with people in foreign countries. And looking around, oh my gosh, there's so much chaos going on. Total chaos. And you've heard me say this before, but if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. And there's so much going on. We are lying to ourselves. We don't want to admit that we're wrong. It takes a strong, loving soul to say, hey, I take responsibility. I made a mistake. Very few souls will say that. So all over the world, what we see is people being controlled, manipulated, afraid to speak up, afraid to mention whatever they need to mention, afraid that they're going to be criticized or judged, afraid of a new coronavirus coming, the epidemic, afraid of this, afraid of war, afraid of that. It all comes down to communications. And it's the communications that we need to look upon. It's the communications of our soul, and the communications of our soul and with the true source. That's so important for us to understand because your soul has a direct connection to the true source. Why? Because you're part of the true source. You are. And you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to reiterate it. And in the Old Testament, it says we're made in the image of God. And in the New Testament, Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. So we get all these beautiful thoughts and messages. But what do we really do with it? Not too much. Maybe we go to our place of prayer or worship or meditate, we feel good. And 20 minutes, an hour later, the next day, you're back in the same groove because you're listening to the ego. The one thing I'd like you to understand is that your ego is with you to your birth out of your body. As you know, I don't like the word death. However, when you birth out of your body, the ego ceases to exist. It is no longer there, and it knows that. But now each one of us are at a point in our life, I like to use the word precipice in our life, where we have to make important decisions. And the reason we need to take important decisions is we need to look what's going on in the world right now. All the anger, the chaos, the fear, the doubt. We even have war or potential of war. We have people that are self-centered. We have many lost souls, tons of lost souls, traveling all over the world, not knowing which way to go. And they're seeking security. And how are they seeking security? Money. I have a lot of money, I'm secure. Yes, that's important. And how I get money? Listen, that may not be the right thing to do, but everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. And as my mother would say to me, of course, we lived in New York State, So, Michael, if everybody jumped off the Empire State Building, are you going to jump off the Empire State Building because everybody says it's the right thing to do? And although we find this humorous, it really made a wonderful point. And the point is not to be a follower anymore, it's to be a leader. And the leader has to come within your thoughts. The leader has to come with your association and your conversations with your soul and the true source, because that's actually your ultimate guide. We need to listen to those thoughts, not the ego, but to your soul and the true source. We need to take a look and speak up for what we believe is right. I see interviews on political figures, and they say this person's this and that and this and that. Well, how do you know? Well, I just know. Well, do you have any proof? Well, the press says that, or this person says that. That's all they say. But they really don't have any proof. Or they turn around and they quote something from the press. Remember, sometimes it's true, but if it bleeds, it leads. That's the expression with the press. And then you have many arrogant people that are interviewing, and they have this arrogant idea they're going to show you wrong. They're not listening. They're not asking the poignant questions. They're trying to prove their point. So listening means listening to the thoughts of your soul and true inner source guidance. And that's so important. I want to expand on it a little bit more, but I know Tia would like to say something.
Thank you, Michael. That's a beautiful point. Listening to the thoughts of your soul. But why is it that when we listen and we know it's the right thing to do, that so many times we talk ourselves out of doing it?
Well, there probably are myriad of reasons. I'll give you some, but not all of them. Fear, being acceptance, being criticized, not being sure of what you're saying, but most important, not believing in what you're saying, being doubtful. And during the COVID virus that we had here, many businesses shut down and some didn't. And if you didn't get your shot or you didn't get all your boosters, you were criticized, accused of spreading the COVID virus and so on. And now the reports coming out from the CDC that those who didn't get the vaccine were not really the perpetrator of those who got the vaccine. And then there were others that got it and they got the virus 3-4 times, and some never got it at all. This is not a political statement. What I'm really saying to you is that you have to learn to, my famous words, critical thinking, and listen to the thoughts of your soul and the true source. And I want to reiterate this again. I know I mentioned it again, but in my meditations, John F. Kennedy came to me. And it's like, wow, I'm not even thinking about you. I'm doing a healing on someone. And he was smiling. He looked very happy. And he reminded me his famous quote: that's not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And he says, Michael, you have to speak the truth. You have to follow your heart and your thoughts of your soul and true inner source guidance, and tell others they need to speak up. We are so frightened today of speaking our truth that we're afraid of being criticized, judged. They have hate speech. They have all these things on social media, all this stuff going on. And the truth is, you know the truth. It's born within you. It's innate within you. You have that energy and that vibration. But sometimes our ego is in our way and doesn't want to admit it. And it's time for us to get out of the ego. And one of the most important things we need to do is have conversations. Listen to what people are saying. And then we have the politically correct. Well, politically correct, to me, it really means you can allow people to express whatever they so desire. That's our First Amendment, freedom of speech. You have the right to do that. You can say you're a ding dong or anything you want, no problem. But when it gets to being judged and hated and threatened, and that you could go to jail or whatever for expressing your opinion in a very nonviolent way, then we stepped over the boundaries. Now we're in deep, deep trouble. And we need to understand that. Many years ago, eons ago, we had the KKK and the KKK and how they ostracized the people of color. And we overcame that, which was a wonderful thing. And then there was prejudices against different ethnic groups that came to the United States in the 1900s. And we've overcome that. Have we overcome it 100%? Probably not, but probably in the high 95, 97%. Why are people prejudiced? It's all about their ego because they're jealous. That's why they're prejudiced. We all have gifts. You may be an award-winning photographer like you. You may be an artist. You may be a sculptor. You may be a business person. You may be a healer. You may be a doctor, a nurse, or maybe a lawyer. You all have gifts. And that's what we need to understand. Is there somebody that's always going to be better than you? Yes. There's somebody always going to be not up to par with you? Yes. That's life. Do you want to be the best of everything? You have that free will and free choice. You want to be the worst? You have that free will and free choice. The most important thing for us to realize is that we need to respect each other, but we don't have to agree with each other. In my day when I was growing up, and we were in favor of opposing political parties and who we wanted for president. And sometimes we got in a heated discussion and we yell at each other. And then afterwards, we take a deep breath. We said, you know what? You believe what you want. I'll believe what I want. Let's go out and have a beer. And we were friends. There was no hate speech. There was nothing. We learned to respect each other. But on the other hand, we're able to express ourselves. And nobody puts you down. You just listen and you counterbalance, which is the art of debate. We have one great debate. Let me rephrase that. And that one great debate everyone is our soul. That's all. That's our debate. And then are we going to listen to the soul or are we going to listen to the thoughts of our ego? And that's what's so important. I remember there was one interview on YouTube and they were talking about this one political person. They said all the negativity. And the interviewer said, well, you say all these things, but here's some of this person's quote. Nope, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Well, don't you want to hear it? I mean, maybe you're wrong and you think, nope, I know this person is bad and just walked away. You know what that told me? They were living in fear because they may have made a mistake and they don't want to hear it. We have to look at ourselves and say, what is right action and correct exchange with what the true source taught me? Life is about right action and correct exchange, doing the right thing at all times. And correct exchange is pay it forward, it comes back to you. The law of karma. As you do good, you get good. If you do negative, you get negative. It's a balance within us. It's so utterly simple, but we just are in complete denial because of our ego. And then we can do 27 things. You get 27 compliments. Yeah. And one person goes, one thing negative, and it sours your whole day. You gave up your love and joy and happiness to one negative thought, which could be to a person who is jealous of you. I know in writing my book coach and Patrick Snow, I'll give him a little testimony, is great. And he said, you'll always find somebody who always wanted to write a book, but they'll always find something wrong. Like you use the wrong syntax, you should have used an explanation point, or you should have broken the sentence up in 2 or 3 sentences, so on and so forth. There's always somebody. And I'd go, but how'd you like the book? Well, you quoted this wrong, or you did this wrong and that wrong, not a quote. But how did you like the book? They had no answer. Why? Because their ego is in the way, because they were jealous, because they've always wanted to write a book, but they had to find something wrong with my book and other books. And I understand there are grammatical errors in almost every book, like as many as 5 or 6. Well, who really cares? What's the story about? What is the joy in reading the book? What does it pay to be an expert and saying I'm an expert on something and you miss something? Well, does that give you a lot of joy to put someone down? Person who put hours and hours of love into it? Think about that. Or perhaps you went out to buy a suit or a dress or an outfit and you felt really good. 9 people like it. The other one says you look frumpy or that's the wrong color on you and just blew all the wind out of your sails. Why do people do that? And the reason is because they want to be superior. It's all their ego And really, why are they suffering such deep ego or listening to the ego? And the answer is because they have no self worth, self love, and self esteem. There we go again, the famous three. But this is a year of evaluation. This is the year when you need to listen to the thoughts of your soul. This is a time where you have to make a decision. Am I a leader or a follower? That is what you have to think about. If you're a leader, then the first person you need to lead, guess who? You. You're the first person to lead that narrow path of right action and correct exchange. And being willing to say, I made a left hand turn when I should have made a right turn. I think I'll go back and make a right hand turn and do it right. Period. But on the other hand, how do we learn? There are no mistakes. What it is a process of understanding the direction we should go in life and what we should achieve in life and where we're going in life. There was a client that called me up, and her blood pressure was like, I don't know, 220, 230, and I went, wow, and she's on high blood pressure pills. And the first thing I said, because this is something important, the pill is a band-aid. Well, what do you mean? Well, the pill keeps my blood pressure down. Yeah, and you're right. There's no argument. What's the origin? What is causing your high blood pressure? What are you not looking at? What are you giving your self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem to some insignificant person or situation who is jealous and insecure? And then they finally admitted it, who it was, a family member. And then minutes the family member's name was mentioned, you can hear the tension building, the intonation of the voice changing. You can feel her anxiety and frustration. And I said, well, congratulations. This person won. This person is in control of your life. No, she isn't. No, she isn't. Well, then why are you so upset? Think about that. The price you pay for giving up your self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem is the price of being angry, upset, and feeling annoyed, feeling unimportant, feeling that no one cares or loves you. That's what happens. So who really is creating that? You are, not that person. You're allowing it to be happening, but you are creating it. You're creating it with your thoughts. Because what I found over the years of this work that I've been doing is that every illness is caused by an emotion that occurred, either intramural or when you were a child or at the current age. It has been caused by that. Someone that you have given up your self worth, self love, and self esteem. Now that you hear this information, and perhaps you've already known it, now you have to make a decision. And that decision is, what way are you going? What do you want to achieve? And who's really in control of your life? We were taught to be tolerant, and we should be tolerant. But tolerance doesn't mean you give control of your life and give up self worth, self love, and self esteem. You just are listening and you go, well, I disagree, but that's what you wish to do. That's fine. Many times I told you in the past, person says, I can't, I can't, I can't. I go, you won't, you won't, you won't, you won't. And they get mad at me and angry at me. Well, I just push the button because it is really true. By their own actions, they've shown that this is true. Now we look around our world full of chaos. Do you want to be part of that chaos? Or do you want to be part of that love and joy? We were created out of love, by love, from love, with love, and totally love. Not only from the host, which is our mother, and from our father, even if they're angry or you're not with them anymore, or they've birthed out of their body or whatever, but it was an act of love. And your soul and the true source is love. Procreation is done with love. Yeah, some people say lust, but it's an act of love. Because you see, the sperm and the egg is a loving thing that comes together to create a life. What a beautiful thing. These small sperm and eggs producing a 6, 7, 8, 9 pound baby. That's amazing. And that's done out of love, true love. And that's what you understand now. Your creation is out of love because your mother, your father is the true source. The true source is the epitome of being androgynous, meaning male and female, loving, perfect energy in harmony and balance. Because without life, there is no love. Without love, there is no life. That's a direct quote from the true source. Think about that, everyone. Your life can be whatever you so desire it to be because you are the producer, director of the movie called Your Life. It used to be a TV show called Your Life many years ago. But look how beautiful you are right now. I don't care what you look like, thin, fat, skinny, old, wrinkly. You are a miracle. Your life is a miracle. Your soul is a miracle. Your family and friends are all miracles because you're attracted to one another. These are the thoughts that I'd like you to think about. Listen to the thoughts of your soul. Listen to the thoughts of the true source. And ask if it's not my soul. Ask to discern if it is the true source or the thoughts of your soul. And you'll always be guided in the right direction, whether it be stormy, whether the sun shines, whether there'll be a torrent of rain, or an earthquake, or a volcano, or a hurricane. You'll always end up walking in the sun. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you, and I'd like you to share this special moment every Thursday evening in 7 to 7:30 Pacific time. I'd like to share some more information with you, and that information I'd like to share with you is that every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, called Soul Awakening. And that's where I invite all of you to come in, ask questions, and maybe you know the answers. Maybe you need to remember the answers. That's so important. But please, come and ask questions. And then I deliver a 10-minute little message. And to access that, it's very simple. To you, will you give them that information while I pick something off the floor?
Sure. That number is 202 926 1059. And Michael, the access code?
Is 125446 pound.
I'll give that number again. I also have a little comment on what you said, but we'll do the phone numbers first, okay? It's all the numbers are also in the chat. So one more time on that number for Tuesday night, it's 202 926 1059. And the access code, Michael?
125446 pound. Also, on the second Saturday of every month, from 9:55 a.m. to 11:01 Pacific time, it's called Mass Consciousness Healing. And you come on, we talk for a few minutes, and sometime around 10 o'clock, 10:01, we go into silence. So if you join us late, just know that we're meditating. And it's all about being an extension of the true source's unconditional love, letting us be a vehicle to have that love flow through us to touch everything on this planet. The animal, mineral, vegetable kingdom, even Mother Earth is a living, breathing entity. It's a beautiful thing I enjoy doing. And the telephone numbers are the same, so if you would give it one more time, please.
202 926 1059. And the code?
Access code is 125446 pound. Now, some of you may be wondering, I hope you are, Michael has all these 10-minute messages. Well, how can I listen to these 10-minute messages? Well, there are two ways. I'll give you the first way. And that is you can call in on your phone while you're driving your car or you're angry or upset and play one of the messages. And that can be accessed by your telephone by calling
434 300 4170. And the access code, Michael?
125446 #. One more time.
434-300-4170, and the code?
125446 #. And this is beautiful because if you're tired, you're angry, upset, dial the number, listen to the message. It'll change your life. Also, you can listen to some of the messages on YouTube or the replay, excuse me, of this podcast. And you go to YouTube, Dr. Michael B. Gross, all one word, and you can listen to any of the podcasts and any of the 10-minute messages that I've delivered. Not all 300 plus, but any of them. All you need to do is see which appeals to you. And we've done it in a very unique way. We've used a picture, photograph that Tia Knapp has taken, which I give her kudos because she's a famous award-winning photographer. And there's a quote, and then listen to the 10-minute message. And I want to give special kudos to Tia for helping set that up, and also for Keegan Strobeck, who also took the time to make this work. They've been really tireless in helping me. And when you listen to what I call the replay, if you're on the phone, all you need to do is choose between number 3, and I started at 3, all the way up to about 307 or 8. And I can't help but tell you this. Oh, Michael, I listened to 127. I don't know what it was, but it's just what I needed to hear. Therefore, I wanted to share that all with you. Take advantage of it. The price is free. It's no charge. It's complimentary. And I know before Tia wants to talk about some things, I also want to mention that in the chat you see my telephone number, and I offer you a 30-minute complimentary consultations. Take me up on it. Call me. Leave a message. Be sure to leave a message, or text me. That would be really great. I may not get back to you the same day. More than likely I will, but not all the time. But I will get back to you, and we'll work together to find a convenient time. And I want to thank you for that. To you, I know that you would like to add some more.
Just really quick, Michael, because I'm respecting everybody's time here. What you pointed out today, sometimes it's important for us to go back and listen to these things again. We are a miracle. Every single one of us here, we're here for a reason. We have a unique soul, and we are a miracle. We could have been any combination, but for whatever reason, we are the one that has the life form now. And it's important to remember that, and knowing that, respect yourself, knowing that you are the one that has all the answers within you, like Michael said. We already carry everything within us. Our soul taps into anything when we ask, and it's all because of the true source and the fact that we're an aspect of the true source. So definitely, listen to Michael's phone calls. Go to his YouTube channel, because he really, truly, we want to get his messages out. So hit the subscribe button and share that with your friends, because there's nothing more important than what we do each and every moment. And we have to live in unconditional love, because everything else is already chaotic. We don't need to add any more to that pile, right?
Absolutely.
So on that note, thank you, Michael, for your beautiful message. You beat me.
And again, I want to say that this is brought to you by our sponsors, is The True Source, and our co-sponsor is Healing the Holes in Your Soul. It's a book written by Tia Knapp. It's the story of a woman who went through a rebirth. It's a beautiful, wonderful story of encouragement and of learning about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. It's a must-read.
But begin with this amazing book, The Spiritual Primer, because if it wasn't for this book and that wonderful gentleman sitting right next to me on this virtual screen, the book he's holding would not even be in existence. There is so much value in this, and this is actually the second edition. So Be sure you contact Michael and get a signed copy, because that's the only way you're going to get one, is if you go right directly through Michael, or email me. My contact information is in there too. And I will make sure that Michael gets a book out in the mail to you. So on that note, Michael, thank you. You are a gift in my life. and you've changed my life in so many ways. And I'm truly, truly honored to be doing this with you.
Thank you. And everyone, join us next Tuesday evening. Call in, Soul Awakening and Words of Wisdom, and whenever you can. We love you all. And remember, you are unlimited. Namaste. Take care, everyone. We love you.
We love you.